What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Taj. And today I got a hot take, okay? Don't judge me. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, what are you talking about? The LA Clippers every single year find a new way to choke. They find a new way to disappoint. They always end up, doing worse than we think. But let me tell you why this is the year that the LA Clippers are a sleeper team, why they're actually underrated. I think, this team could surprise some people. And I know, last year, they started their season 16-1. I don't know how many of y'all remember that. I remember that because I was talking about it. The Clippers are 16-1. They're busting everybody's ass. Even though shortly later they would fall out of that spot. I think, what did they fall down to, like the 4th or 5th seed, and they lost in the first round, right, to the Utah Jazz. It ended pretty quick. I think Blake Griffin got injured again, and that's obviously the biggest problem with this LA Clippers team is Blake Griffin's inability to stay healthy. And of course, this prediction is also one of the things that will hinge on Blake Griffin's health, Blake Griffin's ability to stay in NBA seasons and be fully healthy come playoff time. That's something that's maybe if the Clippers were healthy in a certain year, they could make a run past the second round. And now that Chris Paul's out of there, this is a team that everybody's writing off. Not just Chris Paul, but we also saw other players on that team, JJ Redick, Jamal Crawford, Luke Richard, Mbah Moute. Paul Pierce retired, but he wasn't really doing much at the end. But still, there were a ton of players that gone from the Clippers. Their first three guys, or point guard, shooting guard, small forward, those starters, and their sixth man, all gone. And with Blake Griffin's contract looming, people were wondering, is this team really going to lose out on Blake Griffin? Are they going to become a rebuilding bottom of the barrel team? But Blake Griffin made the bold decision to re-sign with the Clippers, and now, at first it was okay, what are they gonna do though? Blake Griffin re-signs this team, but it looks like, Blake Griffin can only make them so good. Do we really even think they're gonna make the playoffs with just Blake Griffin and his injury issues? Probably not. And he would keep them out of the lottery, or the deep lottery where they can get a good pick. So it's at a certain point, do you really want Blake Griffin here? Are you really relying on him to carry your franchise from the bottom to the top with some help, of course, but is he really that guy with all these injury problems, just an inconsistent playing history? I don't know. In playing history, is he playing games consistently? No, he's not. And of course, it's not like Blake Griffin's the best player in the world. A lot of people question his true value because a lot of people make him out to be this incredible superstar, which I don't think he is. I think he's a star, but are we considering a top 10 player? I hope not. Blake Griffin is the guy. But this is a team that has made good move after good move. People underrate the acquisitions they got from Houston for trading Chris Paul. Chris Paul, a guy that basically forcing his way out of there. And they got back Patrick Beverley. They got back Lou Williams. These are two guys, and of course, Sam Decker and Montrezl Harrell, who, those guys really aren't anything yet, but we've seen flashes from them. Those are guys that can contribute, that could be key players in the future. But, the main baggage, Patrick Beverley, who's a surefire starter. This is a guy that can lock down any guard in the league. You put him on whoever. And Lou Williams, who won Sixth Man of the Year? I think it was Eric Gordon, but I thought Lou should have won it. Lou had such a good year last year. And so basically for me, it's I think Lou Will is the best sixth man. Maybe Eric Gordon's a little better because his shooting is such a help to that Rockets team. But in terms of talent, Lou Williams can score off the dribble. He can run an offense off the bench. He can shoot off the dribble and all this stuff. I think Lou Williams is really good. He's clearly a top 3 sixth man. So he's really valuable. And you also got Austin Rivers on that bench. That bench backcourt of Austin Rivers and Lou Williams, possibly the best bench backcourt there is in the league. Just putting that out there. Now, we take a look at some other underrated acquisitions. I'm talking about Milos Teodosic, I think that's how you say it. If I'm saying that, butchering that, I'm sorry, but I don't know how to say it. You know who I'm talking about. Point guard from Europe that hasn't played in the NBA yet, but he's, a passer. He's a guy that's going to get the ball down low to Blake and DeAndre Jordan. He's a ball handler, which is good because, Patrick Beverley in the backcourt, he's not there to handle the ball. He's a guy that's going to shoot shots, and he is going to defend his ass off. That's what he's going to do. And the other guy, Danilo Gallinari, who's, he's had his injury history as well, but he's still a very solid and underrated player for this team. Danilo Gallinari is one of the better small forwards in the Western Conference, at least he was before this year. Maybe you wouldn't say that about him now, but he's still a guy that is very capable of scoring the basketball. And so when you look at that starting lineup, Milos Teodosic, however you say his name, Patrick Beverley, Danilo Gallinari, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, that's a monster starting five. And then you look at that bench group, and you got Austin Rivers and Lou Williams, and you got Harrell and Sam Decker, and among other players. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, but that Clippers team, they got some depth. Their bench is good. Their starting lineup is good. I know Chris Paul is such a valuable player. He's a guy that adds so much. He does so much on both ends of the floor. I get that, but I really do think that the LA Clippers improved. I think that they actually have a better team and one that operates more through Blake Griffin, who, even though Chris Paul is great and we know that, there was kind of a power struggle in LA for the past few years. Who is the number one guy? Who's going to get the buckets? Who's going to take those big shots? Who's going to have the ball in their hands? Obviously, Chris Paul wants to have the ball in his hands, but Blake Griffin, you could make an argument that he wasn't getting the ball enough because he's such a great talent in terms of scoring, a guy that you want the ball in his hands because he can get you a bucket in so many ways, and he's also a playmaker. He can make good passes. He didn't have the ball that much because of Chris Paul. He was always having the ball, which, like I said, it's not a bad thing to have Chris Paul have the ball that much because, of course, it's Chris Paul. However, in this scenario, this is a better situation for Blake Griffin. I know that he might have got some easy buckets off of Chris Paul, but I think that he's more comfortable as a guy that can get the ball and make a play with it, whether it be him getting to the basket, him shooting a jump shot, or him making a play for somebody else. I think that this is an area of his game that has always been underrated, overlooked, and really underutilized, honestly. So I'm looking forward to that. And the only weakness I can see, clear weakness here, is the fact that this team might not be able to stay healthy. But let's make this clear. I don't understand how people can say if this team is pretty healthy, generally healthy for this season, how you could have them outside of your top 8 by the end of the season is blasphemous to me. I don't understand. Yes, I do feel like this team is sleeper and not top 4 or 5 because of those great teams. The West has so many great teams, and you stop at 4 or 5 when you talk about great teams. It's okay, there can't be more than that. And because Chris Paul left, and it seems like the Clippers lost star power, it's well, you don't consider them there anymore. And they're a team that's notorious for being unlucky and choking and just unraveling at the bad times. And so you got the Warriors, you got the Spurs, the Rockets, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves, those top 5 that are loaded teams. And after that, people tend to forget the Clippers are the next best team. Absolutely. If they can stay healthy, which is a big if, I know, but generally healthy, if they only get one injury for, a long time, or if everybody can play 60-plus games, it's this team is capable at hanging with some of the best talent in the league. I really do think that the Clippers could take a few wins in the regular season from some of the top tier teams in the league for sure, because they should be regarded as a top 8 team in the league, I think. So, we'll see, we'll find out, but people are sleeping on this team. I think the most underrated team. I don't hear anyone talking about them, but you look at their team, there are very few holes there. You gotta let me know what y'all think about this. Subscribe if you're new. Comment what you think. And yeah, I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.